Now, we've been listening to our customers over the past few years, I suppose, since we introduced the Supertourer range based on the Land Cruiser 200 series and the 79 series. But we've had a few customers inquire and ask, what could we do with a popular dual cab ute? Now, the obvious choice would have been for us to do a dual cab Hilux, but we've decided to break away from the mould and get into another range of vehicles and see what we can do to produce a Supertourer based on a more realistic budget for most people. Here it is, Ranger. So this is the first time we've gone outside the box and steered away from Toyota. By the time this truck is finished, I really want the price of this set up fully for touring with all the best of the best gear to come in under the price of a standard 79 series dual cab. Comes with the factory rear locker. We've gone with the 3.2 litre, so we've got the bigger towing capacity and a bit more power. 6-speed auto. We're working with our suppliers once again to come up with some new concepts and new ideas for the new Ranger Patriot Campers Supertourer. But the first thing we're going to do is fit all the TJM bar work. Now, obviously with TJM, we've been using their gear since day one. It's the only product that we fit as far as bull bars go. We've got the T13 steel bull bar. It's airbag compatible. We've got a fog light kit. You can take up to a 12,000 pound winch. We're going to put a TJM torque in this, like we do with all of our vehicles. They're tried and tested. You've got headlight mounts on there, aerial mounts, 63mm hoops on top. Once we get this all unwrapped, you'll see how it goes together. Coming down the side, we're going to put on the 63mm side rail bars, so to give protection from impact on the side. Obviously gives a little bit more protection to the bull bar as well, because you brace right up to the top. We'll put the Patriot Camper side steps that we put on the 200 series as well. The boys will get into this, get all the bar work fitted, and then I'll take you through the next process. The bar's almost ready to go on. First thing that they're doing is obviously putting in the bar support and the winch cradle. Holds the TJM torque winch that I was talking about before. The last thing you want is to hit something at high impact with the bull bar and your airbags don't go off. So just a little tip, make sure that any bull bar you put on your vehicle is airbag compatible and ADR compliant. Okay, so while the boys are putting the bull bar on, we're actually installing TJM AirTech Snorkel. Around the country, and especially up north, there's a lot of water crossings. So what the Snorkel's doing, it's lifting your air intake way above the roof line of the vehicle, so you're not going to get water into your airbox and hydraulic lock your motor or do something stupid like that. The ram mount's actually got a little hole at the back. So what happens is, when the rain pumps in through there and it kind of cyclones the water around with the air, it disperses the majority of the water out the back. Obviously, you still got a filter in there. The other great thing about the TJM Snorkel is it's actually UV stabilising. So you see with a lot of the imported product, Chinese, eBay sort of stuff, you see those snorkels starting to go brittle and they go dull and they don't look very good after a period of time. So all the gear we fit into the Supertourers, always the best stuff. A snorkel, one of those must-have things if you're doing remote destination touring. So in the rear of the vehicle, we've gone with a 300 kilo constant load spring. We've worked out that's probably about what we need for what we're going to do with the back. This is a budget build, so we want to use products that you can buy straight off the shelf and show a vehicle that can be built outside of going a little bit overboard, which we normally do. You've got the XGS shocks here in the back. You've got greasable pins, greasable shackles, and the height of this, we're probably going to end up with about 2 inches of lift, but we won't really know until we get it back on the ground and get the car fully loaded up. Now, there's a couple of reasons why we do aftermarket suspension. We go with a lift to give us a little bit more ground clearance, but most importantly, the suspension upgrade, majority of it's in the spring rate. Obviously, with all the gear that we're putting onto this car. To be perfectly honest with you, this is going to be our first crack with the TJM XGS suspension. I've heard a lot of really good stuff with this gear here. So we're replacing the shocks, the springs, got to make the truck look a little bit better, but most importantly, carry all this extra weight. bull bars all fitted, obviously. The winch is up underneath. We've run two 600mm X-ray quad optics. We got one in a pencil and one in the spread. We've gone with a little bit of a bling style forward grille. If you come in here, we've got GME whip. I try and keep the whips where I can, try and keep them under the height of the roof of the car. When you go on a big trip, obviously we'll put a longer whip on, get a little bit more range out of the radio. But if you come in here and have a look, you'll see this is the whole electrical setup for all of the accessories that we're adding into the car. So we've got some relays up here, we've got fuses that are going to be running the gear on the tray. We're running 2 Anderson plugs on this car as well, so we've got 2 MIDI fuses, and the reason for that is we've got 1 Anderson plug that's going to be powering everything in the canopy that we're going to be putting on the back, and then we've got another Anderson plug that's running to the back of the car that powers the trailer, obviously, while you're driving. If you have a look up in here, we've got an isolator for the front winch. Now, the reason that I'll put an isolator on all of my winches, I run remotes on my winches. I've always got the kids in the car and they love pushing buttons on things. Everything nice and neat, everything really accessible. In the event that something goes wrong, the circuits are easily traced, and it makes for a much easier repairs should something go wrong. The Ranger, it's back on the lift. Now we've put some products in underneath the gear that you don't usually see. So while it's up there, come through here and I'll show you through. The first product that we put in here is a long-range fuel tank from Braun. Now, Braun manufacture steel long-range fuel tanks. That's what they're famous for. Manufactured in Australia. Long-standing relationship with those guys from back in my racing days. But we've got 130 litre fuel capacity here in the Ranger. This is available off the shelf. I think standard they're about 70 litres, so we've almost doubled the fuel capacity. I don't know what the guys at Braun think we're going to be doing with this truck, but those bash guards are capable of going over, scraping over rocks out of wherever you want to go. So it covers really the whole under the belly of the car, all the most important stuff. We're protecting the sump first and foremost, and you can see it goes all the way up, mounts into the bull bar. Braun bash guards, check these out. Awesome, awesome little gear. What we've done is we've developed these guards here. We're going to run 2 sets that are going to be available for the Ranger. The first set to fit under the side rail bars. So you can see, like your fiberglass or plastic guards, they simply bolt on. And what these are going to do is allow us to run the 0 offset wheel, and we still want to keep this vehicle as practical as possible. So we want the guards to really contain all the mud or sand or whatever, that it doesn't spray all over the side of the car. And down the track, we'll develop another set that's going to be a little bit more dominant if you're not going to run the sidebars, and they can accommodate different offset wheels. Now the boys are just about to fit the Rhino-Rack Pioneer platform. The Pioneer platform is a product that we've been using from day one, and it is the most versatile system that's on the market as far as I'm concerned. We've put in most of the necessities that we find you need in a touring vehicle. First of all, starts with a 1200 quad optic X-ray light bar. You've got a really good mix of spotlights and floodlights, so you can project down the road but also cover the shoulders of the road too. Max Trax on top. Max Trax is one of those items, if you're a fan of Patriot games, you saw the mega bogging, we called it, that we got into. You know that the Max Trax is one of those items we never go away without. Now on top of the platform, we've got a Red Arc 150 watt monocrystalline panel. Now, when it comes to solar panels, there is such a wide variety of range in solar panels. I tell you right now, with solar, you definitely get what you pay for. We've also got a shovel holder on the side. We've gone with a little spade on this one. Normally we run a long handle shovel. The way that we've set the Pioneer platform up is we still want to be able to carry swags on top. Now we're going to be doing a lot of trips with the Polaris gear, so the camper trailer that's going to be behind this vehicle is not going to be with us all the time. And the way that we've set it up, we've put in the eyelets that come from Rhino-Rack. There's a range of gear that's available. So I can set a swag here, put another 2 swags at the back, strap them all down. Now obviously when we're driving and the swags are on top, the alternator's charging the second battery that's behind the seat. When we get to camp, pull the swags off and the car's sitting there charging in the sun. Now on the passenger side, we've got a new product. Daci Eclipse 180-degree awning. Daci's getting a really good name for themselves. We use all the Daci swags, Daci chairs. We have been for a really long period of time. It holds a lot of gear. Rhino-Rack, Pioneer platform. Trust me, this is one of the best accessories that you can put onto your touring truck. We're leaving for the Northern Territory at 4 o'clock tomorrow morning. It's now 12 o'clock. TJM's just thrown me a curveball, but a good one. They've sent me down the brand new prototype of the TJM Pace shocks, remote reservoir, fully adjustable, bolt-in kit for the Ford Ranger. They've asked us to trial them out up in the Northern Territory for the next month and see how they go. There's a remote reservoir canister, and what that does is increases your oil volume, which in turn stops the oil from heating up as much as it would in a standard sort of shock or a monotube shock, and will prevent the shock fade. The best thing about the suspension, everything's fully adjustable. So on top of the canister, you've got these little clickers. You've also got clickers at the bottom of the shock. So this allows you to adjust your rebound and your compression so you can set your truck up for how you like it to ride, or depending on the load that you're carrying. For long corrugated roads, this stuff is ideal. You can see the quality that goes into this. We've beaten up on this suspension in the Megatourer. So far, hasn't skipped a beat. I'm keen to see how it goes in the Ranger. The Ranger, it's finally completed. The boys have fitted all the best of the best gear and all the stuff that we really believe in into this new mini Supertourer. But the most exciting thing that's got to be on this car has got to be what's sitting on the back. This is our new range of PCOR trays. Now, PCOR stands for Patriot Campers Off-Road. This is the prototype vehicle that's going to set a new direction for Patriot campers. So for everybody who's asked, can I buy a Supertourer or a Megatourer tray for my vehicle? The answer now is yes. Like I said, the Ranger's going to start us off, but then we're going to move into the 79 series. This is all gear that's going to be available from August this year. And as the demand grows, we'll move into some other vehicles. But let me show you around some of the features. There are some really new innovations inside this tray. This whole body at the back here weighs 260 kilos. Now there's a 70-litre water tank underneath with a pressurised water pump. There's a tap down the back and fold-up sides. They've got concealed latches in the side, over-centre latches with anti-vibration, so when you're travelling down a corrugated road, you're not going to have any issues with them popping open on you. And that's basically the side fold down. They're bolted into the side of the tray, so you can remove them. We've got a new style of powder coat that we've introduced into our ranges as well. It's called a black silica. It's a lot finer texture. It doesn't hold as much dust. We've got 1-ton slats at the back of the tray. And as a standard fitting, we've got Douglas tracking or aircraft tracking, whatever you want to call it. Really handy. You've got these little slots, same as I have on the back of the Megatourer. They're rated to, I think, 500 kilos. 300 and something kilos in a vertical direction. This one at the back's got a high lift jack holder. You see up the top, we've got integrated LEDs into the headboard for your rear lamps. And then we've got switches on the side. It's cool little rock lights, diesel filler on the side. All the trays feature central locking as standard, so push the button, obviously everything locks. You can see here you've got massive toolbox at the back. Now, because this range is running a zero offset, obviously we've got a wider track. So we've come up with a design of interchangeable guards to suit different offset. Zero offset wheel. The Ranger obviously makes it stand a little bit tougher and makes it track a little bit better. So you can see the line of the car and all the sheet metal folds all running with the vehicle, and obviously aesthetically, things have got to look right. Worth noting as well, the whole tray is aluminium. We're pretty adamant on using aluminium, non-corrosive material. Stands the test of time. You're not going to have any issues with rust or anything like that. Moving around the back, LED tail lights. We've incorporated the factory rear parking sensors as well, which is a really handy feature. Again, the rear drawer, you've got central locking, the quality of the latches and all the gear, everything that we've learned over the years was really put into focusing on this build and make everything operate the way that it should. One of the things I find really handy on all the builds of the trays that I do, I normally put a clear wrap over the side of the tray. We do a fair bit of hunting and you've got the dogs jumping up and down on the back. They tend to scratch the powder coat, so you can remove that any period of time that you like and replace it. We've got your water filler here, again for your 70-litre water tank and the pressurised pump down the back. Your LED switches on both sides, so they're two-way switches. You can switch on from one side and off from the other if you need to. It's also worth noting we've got spare wheel holder mounts. We haven't fitted to this vehicle, but you can't put 1 or 2 spares up on the headboard if you go with a bigger long-range tank and you can't get your spare up underneath. Another great product that we're going to be introducing for PCOR is this light bar bracket. It'll take a 1200mm X-ray quad optic and mount it to the front of your Pioneer platform. It'll fit any size platform, but check with your state on legalities. I know in some states now, light bars mounted above the roof are not actually legal. What the Torque It system does, we've gone with a complete system, exhaust from the dump pipe back, and then a pedal torque module and an ECU. Now what that does gives you a 20% power increase. So it takes the Ranger from 147 kilowatts to 193 kilowatts. And torque goes from about, I think, 450 newton meters to 600 and something newton meters. Pretty small investment when you consider the power gains. Now, one thing to note with the Torque It systems is the exhaust that Torque It put out, they're not really designed to increase engine noise. You know, they're not like a bling exhaust, which for touring is something that's pretty good, and especially in a 3-litre diesel. But what they do is they just allow the exhaust gas to flow a lot better, obviously from the turbo. You want to get that gas out as quick as possible. Torque It gear, we've been running it for 4 or 5 years, and for bolt-on systems, without going, you know, the full custom or going overboard, you really can't go past them. I'll give you a bit of a listen to how it sounds. Start it up, mate. Give it a rev. So you can hear there, it's not drony, not going to be annoying, but 20% power increase, worth every dollar. Obviously with the XLS, you get a rear camera, which is integrated into the tray. You've got controls on the steering wheel. There's a couple of things that we've done in here to make it a little bit more suitable to touring. Obviously the first thing you notice is going to be the MSA canvas seat covers. Obviously with the kids too, the seat covers are absolute gold. We've got some MSA storage bags in the back to, you know, hang all your gear, and it makes it a little bit more comfortable in the center console. The GME XRS, now one of the most handy features is this thing's got inbuilt GPS. I've got an app now on my phone. When we go traveling up north, I can actually log everybody's CB that's with me if they've got XRS into the phone. And what that'll do is every time that they click on the receiver and they transmit, it plots on their phone exactly their GPS location. So if you've ever been traveling in a big group, you know it always happens somebody gets lost. You can open up the app, as long as you've got GPS signal, you don't need any other signal, you can see exactly where they are, start heading in that direction until you can get them on the radio. Down here, I've got my driving light switches for the X-ray lights. They're wired into the high beams, but obviously you've got to have the switch on to turn them on and off. We've got USBs up on the dash, a couple of USBs over the top, and HEMA HX1, you wouldn't travel anywhere without it. We've got a Redarc BC-DC 1240. Now, the BC-DC controls the charge into the second battery. It's also got an isolator in there to ensure if you're running dual batteries that you're not going to kill your cranking battery. But most importantly, it's got solar input as well. So when we're pulled up for camp, what we're actually going to use this battery for is to run a fridge that we're going to have in the tray. We've got an Anderson plug in the back there, and we've got our solar input there as well. So even when the car's not driving, we're still putting charge into that deep cycle battery, specifically to run the fridge. Pretty cool feature for a touring vehicle. So one of the brand new products that we fitted to the Ranger is the new Dacia Eclipse awning. It opens both ways, which makes it pretty unique. The coverage that you get on this is pretty crazy. It covers the entire length of the car from front to back. We've set it up in the center, so I'll quickly run you through how that opens up. Full length from the front of the truck all the way to the back, massive coverage. Another new product for Patriot campers. The rain's hammering down, so I'll try and make this quick so you can hear me. That's the smallest Supertourer build that Patriot campers have done today. And I think it's one of our most exciting because of the practicality. It's affordable, This is very, very capable, this vehicle. We're going to prove what it can do on Season 2 of Patriot Games. For more information on the PCOR products, go to PCOR4x4.com and check out where they're going to be available in your state. The Ranger, pretty cool build. I'm happy.